Hello, I'm Dr. Love, a matchmaker in New York, Los Angeles, and most recently Miami. Today, we're going to be discussing what I call alphatrons, which is an empowered name for men who choose to love in 2016, whether they're single and looking for love or whether they're married and in love. I've asked a few of my favorite alphatrons in my life to come and join me today to teach us all a little something about what the modern day urban man wants from his femme of choice. So first, let's start with some introductions. Mike, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Mike Goldstein, professional dating coach for about 10 years out of greater New York City area.
Awesome.
And really excited to be here.
Thank you. I'm excited to have you here as well. And how about you, Carrie? Can you tell us a little bit about what you're up to these days?
Absolutely. My name is Carrie Bradshaw. I'm a photographer in Queens, New York. I'm also a graphic designer, and I've been doing that for about six and a half years now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I picked Carrie up, he was on the cover of GQ or something wonderful and awesome like that. So I'm so happy to have you here today, Carrie. Thank you for
It's a
coming.
pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Awesome. So I want to dig in a little bit into these guys' love life and what has turned them on in their women and what has turned them off in their women. And I think that it's something that a lot of men and females can relate to. So Mike, let's start with you. We're in the same field. You're a coach, I'm a matchmaker. We focus on people's love lives and how they can make it better. And what have you found to be the most, let's say, given advice maybe in 2016 that you've given to your female clients in regards to men? Or what would you think is the most pivotal advice that you think women should hear from your perspective as a businessman in your business?
That is an awesome question and so relevant, especially with the emergence of technology and online dating. The biggest thing women need to hear is to actually give men a chance. A lot of women and even men are just one date, first date, and then no more dates. So my advice to women is give the guy a chance, go on multiple dates. And specifically when they say after a first date they're not sexually attracted, I really want them to give a chance because I was looking at the scientific study, and what they've determined is the study actually had women looking at pictures of men and then rating them on a 0 to 10 scale. And let's say a woman gave a guy a 4, then they let them talk to the guy, and if he had a fantastic personality, he could move 4 basis points all the way to an 8.
Right.
But on the flip side, if the personality was not good, a 4 went to a 0. So women move guys 4 basis points. On the other side of the coin, when men were rating women, let's say he rated a woman a 7, great personality, a 7 went to an attractiveness of an 8, terrible personality, a 7 went to a 6.
Wow.
So men can move women 1 basis points on sexual attraction, but women, when they get to know personality, can move 4 basis points.
Wow.
So especially when you're looking at like profile pictures and just, nicks and guys, give them a fair shake. If they're a 4 or higher, a 4 can turn into an 8, a 5 can turn into a 9. So there's a lot of opportunity where women may be missing guys with amazing, fantastic personalities that have a lot of things in common that they're missing out on.
So true. I've set up many couples where the woman has been not that turned on by the man on the first date. And I say, well, did he repulse you? Did he annoy you, like terribly? And if they say no, but I wasn't feeling that chemistry, I'm like, go out with them again. And then I've had these same women fall in love with the guy that they might have rated a 4 at some point, literally fall in love and want commitment out of that same man. So I agree with you that us women, we are emotional. And so we can fall in love more the more we get to know you versus just the first date.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Wow. Very cool. Men, what would you say about men? Men, they're usually more no right away, or you're saying that the men can move up too in their rating of their women?
Awesome question. So men do need to be sexually attracted from the get-go. Unfortunately, it's the exact opposite. Because like I said, if he rates a woman a 6, and maybe his threshold for someone that he could spend his life with is maybe a 7, Then the 7 with a great personality turns into an 8. And I believe everyone who gets married and has a lifetime partner, typically the sexual chemistry is going to be an 8 or above, and then the compatibility is going to be a 10. So that's kind of what we're looking for when we're trying to get people to stay together forever.
Wonderful formula. I like that. Thank you. And I wanted to talk to Carrie because Carrie's been married before, and a lot of men can relate to that. Divorce is over 50%. Oh, right, it wasn't. Okay, forgive me. When a man lives with a woman for such a long time and they father and mother a child together in that unit, to me, it's some sort of marriage. Like, for example, in Brazil, where I'm from, they would consider you guys married.
Right.
In fact, I think the laws even shift, like if you live together for only 3 or 4 years there, where the taxes and everything, you're considered a married person. Don't quote me on this exactly, but it's close to it. So my grandparents lived together for 14 years. And they absolutely were considered married. Then I found out they actually weren't. One day they broke up and moved out, which was crazy. But so, forgive me, you weren't actually married, but she did mother his child, and
Beautiful
you're
child,
very close with your daughter.
Absolutely.
Which is amazing. I love it when I meet a fabulous father. What I want to know is, what on earth did this woman do that got her literally booted out of the household, and it's you and your daughter now?
Well, all right. So it's like this. When you're young, and we met when I was young, you know, as a man, the things I look for in a woman is totally different, right? And it usually was just attraction, basic attraction, right? So that's how we started off, and we dated for years, and we decided to birth a beautiful child that I have right now. But what happened was I kind of progressed. She didn't so much, all right? Our personalities we kind of went on 2 different paths. So she did not progress as much as I did as far as opportunities, as far as work, as far as career, stuff, things of that nature. And she was, I mean, I can't say it any plainer, but she's a little ghetto. She's a little ghetto, you know?
Ghetto moms.
Yeah, she's a little ghetto.
I'm sure there's room for them somewhere. I'm not sure where.
Yeah, but I don't have any room for it anymore. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what happened. There's some other things that happened as well, but without getting too deep into it. But, yeah, pretty much we kind of just grew apart, and she just didn't, we didn't have the same ideals and goals in life anymore, and
would you say you lost respect for her, or you fell out of love for her, or you guys teach me how men think? Is that simultaneous, or does it ring differently for you? Respect to love with her? Can you kind of label it?
I definitely fell out of love with her. And I think my perspective of love was different when I was 22 years old from when I'm older. So the older I got, it was like, this isn't love anymore. I don't really care about her on that level anymore. I still care about her, but we just grew apart,
Sure.
I guess fell out of love, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
And
sure.
it just didn't work anymore, and and that was pretty much it. It's time to move on.
Yeah, unfortunately, it happens to all of us more than we'd all like. We've all fallen out of love and fallen back into love, and it's this wonderful revolving cycle. And I'm glad that you have this beautiful daughter out of that whole experience. That's
She is
awesome.
beautiful, yes, thank you.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. So let me ask Mike now. I now want to get a little deeper into both of yours immediate personal love life now. So Mike here has, I heard through the grapevine, recently moved in with his girlfriend of 3 years, is it?
A little over a year.
Little over a year. I don't know where I got 3 from, but well, that's good. Okay, so at least you went 4 seasons with her, which is
Did.
what I always recommend. Do at least 4 seasons, people, with anyone you dare move in with. It's just wiser to at least go through some different seasons with them and see how they are before making that big commitment. So it seems that it's still on a fast forward for you, considering you've been a hot, single, easy dating coach in New York, and you haven't moved in with anybody, right? Have you ever moved in with anybody?
No,
or
this is the first time I've lived with a girl.
Ooh. I always love that because people get freaky and scared, and it's this weird, all of a sudden you have this chromosome and this chromosome moving in together, and then you have to become a molecule, right? You have to become an atom, and you have to fit each other's lifestyles, and there's that introductory period that's quite uncomfortable in some ways to all of us when we first move in with somebody. I don't think any of us can truly escape it. Even the couples that are so perfect together, there's still that chromosome to chromosome difference. So have you actually moved in yet?
We're in. We're in for about 2 weeks now.
Yes, and how has it been?
It's been fantastic. It really feels like we're on the same team in terms of just getting everything organized. I came from, I wouldn't say a frat house-ish type environment, but I lived with a guy, so I didn't have many things, and now we're buying a lot of things like baskets under the bathroom sink to hold stuff, and it's fun. So we're figuring it all out.
Yeah, going to Bed Bath and Beyond and stuff like that.
That's my Saturday. Yeah, that's my Saturday.
I love it when a man domesticates.
Yeah.
It's very charming. I'm loving this woman. So tell us, I mean, out of all the women that you've dated in New York City, there's millions of gorgeous women everywhere. What's so special about her? What got her to get you to cohabitate with her?
Yeah, that's a great question. The answer really has evolved. I'd say my initial attraction was, I thought she was Superwoman. Like, I'd never met anyone like her in the sense, so she's 5'11". She's a star softball athlete. She's gorgeous.
Wow.
She's way smarter than me. She's got a great job. So I was like, oh my God, why is she dating me? Like, how did I get so lucky? So at first it was just like, surface level, like, wow, her stat sheet's pretty good. And then as I got to get to know her, her finer skills and how to handle men are just fantastic.
Wow.
She's wonderful at appreciating me when I do things. And then I run my own company, and she's great at allowing to just congratulate me on my victories, but also alleviate stress when I'm just, working my butt off. She's there to just take things off my plate or not nag like some women will do. So there's no nagging about like, hey, Mike, I know you're working, but can you spend time with me? She's good at, finding that balance and saying it in an effective way.
She's not a weight on your shoulders. Women, we cannot be weight on any of these men's shoulders because the men have a lot of socialization and a lot to conquer in their missions in this lifetime. And if we're any kind of weighing down on their lives, they're going to dump us at some point or another. So that's what I'm hearing, that she's fuel for your wings.
Nice.
Absolutely.
And that's awesome. That is awesome.
Great.
Well,
She
congratulations.
Also, thank you. On like a really positive note, she's also great at like asking what she needs. So like giving me the roadmap of what she needs. So let's say I am working a lot. She'll say, Mike, you'd make me the happiest woman on the planet if you'd set some time away to take me out to dinner. And
Communication, direct communication with the men is absolutely necessary these days. I work with so many women that want the men, they want you to figure it out. Guess, figure it out. It's on you, and it's not the way to go. She found a positive way to ask for what her needs are. Absolutely much more admirable in any man's eye.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Let's dig into you. Because Carrie is still Mr. Hot Tamale, single man out there, and very much a ladies' man. I have set Carrie up on some dates with some of my hot femme contenders in my matchmaking business, and they've all fallen for him. And he hasn't necessarily fallen for anyone yet, but he is a good company, and he's still dating some, and it's going smoothly. What will it take for any of these women what's the perfect hot femme for you in your vision? Now, we know what it was when you met the mother of your child, and we fell out of love with her because things transpired. And so where are they now? What is a great woman for you?
You know, actually, I've met a few great women. I have met a few great women, but I think I just have this stigma, you know, and sorry, listen, my life isn't as great as yours, bro, as far as relationships is concerned. So I'm just going to represent.
Nothing's perfect,
I'm
trust
just
me.
going to represent the bitter guys out here. But anyways, I've gone through a lot with my kid's mother. So these women I've met, they've been great women, you know, absolutely great women. The last woman I was with for 5 years, I mean, she was great. She stayed out of my hair, kind of like your girlfriend, you know, gives you your space. She was intelligent. She was beautiful. You know, I have a situation now where I have just been jaded, so I don't want any more kids. She wanted to have like a football team.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I'm good with the one I have. So, you know, what would it take? What woman would be the perfect woman?
Would
I
she
think
be
it's
perfect
more-
if she didn't want that?
She would. She probably would have been. I
Okay.
think it's all me.
The kid stuff
You
is a
know?
big deal. It's
Yeah,
good to
it's-
get that out of the way before falling deeply in love with anybody these days, because I'm dealing with several breakups right now because one of the two thought that they might change the other person into
That's what they do all the time.
desiring,
Yeah.
and I'm dealing with a lot of breakups right now. So that's, you know, we have to be wary of that. That's too bad, because so you did attract somebody who is
I did.
near perfect for you,
Yeah.
but there's just that big difference there.
It's just that little thing, you know.
Yeah.
And I have to be ready, Gabby. I have to be ready. I want to I meet people who they're just in love with the thought of being married and being, you know, in a wonderful relationship. And for me, as far as marriage is concerned, I have to be excited about it, you know.
Right.
So, as I said, there are many women that walk through my life that could probably hold that torch of being that it woman, but you know, I have to just be there. I'm still kind of just, you know, sitting back and watching and seeing how it goes, and then when I'm ready, you know, hopefully that woman will walk into my life again. But for now, I'm just like,
you
I'm
might have
sure.
some around you now.
I know.
But when a man isn't ready, what I've learned is they just don't see that, but it could take a slight shift. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's
Yeah.
just a few more months. Men are usually on a slower scale in 2016 than women are for that, because I work with a lot of women and men, and I have to tell the women to slow down, and I have to tell the guys when to pick it up when it's appropriate. So maybe she's around now, and you'll fall into that place where you want that one-on-one compatibility every single day
Yeah.
in your life, and we'll see.
Yeah, because I'm tired of my family. You know, they're like, when you getting married? When you settle down?
Oh
It's
God,
like a
family
monthly check-in.
pressure.
You know?
Families, leave our kids and people alone. Some people are weird independents and they like their own alone time a lot, and they don't really need to. And those people are always weirded out, or they feel like the left out friend. All their friends start getting married, and they're having fun just being social and casually dating several people, which is not rare in the modern age, especially in the urban communities that we're in, New York, LA, and Miami. A lot of women these days even are okay with dating multiple men.
Oh, yes, they are.
And it's everyone is different, but the
Yeah.
families still are pressuring for marriage, which is somewhat of an outdated institution, in my opinion. I feel like it needs to be edited somewhat.
I think so, too.
Why? Divorce is over 50%.
Yeah.
So something in that institution needs to be tweaked.
Yeah.
Let's explore that. I have a client in Los Angeles who gave me one of the most brilliant answers I've ever heard. He's married and happily married, though they've had their ups and downs. And he said, where I wish the ideal marriage institution would be is a 7-year contract. So 7 years you are fully committed, and then you get to renew or drop the contract. And I thought, that actually seems like a good edit. Maybe that would slow down some of the divorce rates that keep rising and rising and rising. Because in 7 years' time, some people might just want an easy break out. But people have to stay in it, even if not, especially if there's kids, maybe it is wiser to stay in it. But if there's not, some people might want a clean break and know that maybe that's not a lifelong partnership for them. What would you guys, let's explore, Mike, you first. Tell me if you can think of any editing of the marriage institution that you feel might be of value to it where it stands now.
Whoa, that is a loaded question.
Maybe it's
Be
perfect.
careful, Mike.
It's to some people it's very perfect. You know what I mean? So that's okay too.
So my thought on the whole thing is just it's simple for me in the sense that men and women are extremely different, and I don't think there are material out there to explain the differences between men and women, but a lot of us are not reading it, or if we are reading stuff, we're reading content that's just given to us very easily and might not be the right content. So I think bottom line is the reason we're having such high divorce rate is because men and women don't understand how we need to communicate effectively to the opposite sex and to our partner. So I think that's what we need to fix the high divorce rate. And the reason it used to be so low, in my opinion, is 100, 150 years ago, a lot of the time when people got married, it was purely financial and to build a family together. And maybe they didn't have a perfect marriage, but it worked out so that they could have kids, they could raise them, they could have a good home. Right. But now we have the luxury of marrying purely for love for a lot of people, where it's not a financial thing. So since now it's just love, and if the love's not working, we get out of town, we need more tools on how to make that union work.
Right. And socioeconomic as well has been a big one, in my opinion, where I feel a lot of the older people that are still married, not necessarily happy. One might be having an affair. I deal with a lot of that as well as big theme. And a lot of the men, for the first time, I truly believe in our generation, are really getting to marry for love. That's why you get to be extra pickier right now and really do it in that manner and actually marry for love. Whereas a lot of the older generation that's still married now, they had to marry us women so we could survive. We couldn't start working until the 70s, realistically. So I think in the 60s, if you went out on a date with me and you liked me, so what? You might feel sorry for me and you might marry me just so I could be provided for, because I didn't really have any opportunities to make my own money. So I do believe there's a lot of marriages that happened because the guy liked the woman somewhat, but it wasn't necessarily everlasting love, but it was just to really help her process out. And it's now in the evolution of changing where you hot men really get to date for love and marry for love. I think that's actually a new energy going on right now.
Interesting.
Yeah. Totally. That's my personal opinion. And I'm waiting to get married myself because I want to also marry for love. And I feel that I'm just now figured out what that perfect formula is for me. So if somebody feels odd because they're not married yet, please don't. Certain personality types just might not know exactly what that perfect formula is for them. I hear that you two are also in the process of figuring that out. And you have a partner to figure that out with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am petrified of marriage. Petrified.
We do hear this, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, can I be honest here? I'm going to be honest. So with marriage, like you said, it's like this contract, right? And you don't know if you want to sign that contract. You see this beautiful girl and you're like, okay, if I marry this woman, what if 2 years down the line, I don't like her anymore? Then what happens? You gotta get divorced. Right. I'll probably lose my house, my
lose
dog,
half
my cat,
of everything.
So with me, that's the sticking point, because I've had discussions with females where I'm like, okay, so because a lot of women today, they're caught up with the glitz and the glamour of marriage and the theatrics of it, the ring.
Right.
And I remember talking to one young lady. It wasn't somebody I was dating or anything, but she was talking about marriage. And I was like, okay, so what's your thoughts on marriage? And she's like, listen, the guy has to be perfect and we have to be married. And if he doesn't want to marry me, then, I want no parts of him. So I said to her, okay, so what if, it's a little juvenile, but what if you had a crystal ball and you met a guy and he's like the perfect guy? And I said, if you could look in that crystal ball and look 30, 40 years in the future, and you can see that you guys aren't married, but you're happy, he loves you, he wants to be with you for the rest of your life, would you still go on with this relationship with this man now that you have this crystal ball to see in the future?
Yeah.
She said no.
Because the marriage institution is that important to her.
That important. And it just,
Yeah.
I think a lot of women
Yeah.
just think that way. And I think it
Yes.
starts with, you two, the love that you guys have.
Right.
If you don't have the love, you can't have a marriage, but you can't have a marriage without love.
Right, right. But it is as a psychologist who studies personality types, certain personality types really do admire, respect, and cater to institutions.
Mm-hmm.
The government, those are your rule followers. They love rules. They like structures. They're the ones that want to go and support the community. They might do a ballet or an opera just to be seen in the community and also feeling like they're supporting the greater institution of our government or what keeps the money going around. And there is a certain personality type. Those are the women and the men who, to them, it's absolutely natural to only want that sacred institution with it. So I would urge you to not date those women, which seems like, which is what you're kind of naturally doing as soon as you see that philosophy is not a simultaneous match with you. You're just going along the other way, so.
Can I play devil's advocate for a second?
Sure.
And by no means am I trying to change your mind about anything.
No.
I'm just giving some 2 cents.
Yeah.
So there's some value that can be added through marriage.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think sometimes it's lost on men that they think they're getting everything when they're in an exclusive relationship. But in reality, and not that I've been there, but what I hear is when you put a ring on it and then you get marriage, you get a whole nother piece of her where she finally fully feels like she's with you, and you're going to get a deeper part of her heart and a deeper part of what you share together in both emotional, your connection, what you can build together in your relationship. I'm sure maybe sexually she'll be more open as well. So I think, for marriage, you can get another level that even the progression through dating you start to see, like you're 1 to 3 months, you're just kind of figuring each other out. 3 to 6, maybe you start hearing about some things that are happening. And then as you date longer, all of a sudden, she could be crying over a moment and you get to bond and learn about why she's crying or vice versa, and you can pick each other up. So I think if you don't go to marriage, you're missing out on this whole thing you could be sharing together.
Beautiful. That's absolutely lovely. There is a lot of value to marriage done right. And what we all need to figure out is how to do marriage right if we're going to go down that road. I feel that's all of our responsibility in our love life, is to attempt to do it as perfectly as possible. And we can start there by not ever consciously poisoning the relationship. That's a good place to start. A lot of people start bringing in any kind of negative energy after the big, wonderful party, the ring, the fiesta, and it's important to just keep it as clean and beautiful as that initial moment when you went to get married. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and join us on the next show. We're going to be speaking with couples. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.